What's up, guys? Mickle here, and a lot of people in the XRP community have been debating whether or not the Ripple SEC case will end via a settlement or it will go the distance and end via summary judgment. Well, guys, in this video, I want to talk about a worst case scenario. What is the chance that this case goes all the way to the Supreme Court? Guys, in this video, I want to break down what would happen if the SEC did in fact appeal this thing to the Supreme Court. I want to show you guys exactly what Ripple is saying about this. Guys, it's very important and it's going to give us a much better idea of what the worst case scenario for this case really is. Guys, we also have some more interesting news coming out of Ripple's summary judgment motion. I want to break down some things that I saw floating around on Twitter today, so make sure to stick around for that. Like always, guys, your support means so much to this channel. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below and turn on bell notifications. These three simple things go such a long way in helping this channel grow, and it really does mean so much to me. If you guys ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my link for Uphold down in the description below. Uphold is my favorite place to buy and sell XRP. With that said though, guys, let's jump right into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, real quick, make sure you do not miss out on MooMoo's holiday promotion. If you sign up with MooMoo using the link in the description of this video, you could win up to 15 free stocks as well as $60,000. Guys, MooMoo is an awesome trading platform. They have a great interface, they're regulated, and this is an awesome chance to win some free money. So guys, do not miss out on this and sign up with MooMoo using the link in the description of this video before you miss this opportunity. Guys, let's jump right into it, and I want to start off with something a little surprising. It looks like we do have some news coming out of Library. Now, I thought this case ended a while ago, but I guess Library and the SEC are going back and forth and debating on what Library's punishment is going to be. Library actually put out a tweet earlier today that kind of got me thinking. Take a listen to this. This is scheduled to close out round one of SEC versus Library case. After the final reply, the judge will decide on remedies. There may still be a surprise in store. So guys, I thought this was pretty interesting by Library. They put the finger crossed emoji and said there might still be a surprise in store. I'm not sure if they know something or they're just guessing. I highly doubt they would put something out like this if they didn't assume something was going to happen. In my opinion, the only good news Library could kind of get at this point is if the judge clarified that secondary sales of the Library token is not a securities transaction. Based on the original brief, the judge never really made it clear if secondary sales were a securities transaction or not. So it seems like right now only the Library tokens that Library specifically sold will go down as securities transactions, but either way that means Library still violated securities laws. But that doesn't really clarify whether or not Library in the secondary market, if I was to send you Library token, did I just violate securities transactions? Obviously that makes no sense and that should not be the case, but it's something the judge didn't really specify. So hopefully, and this would be really good news, we'll get some kind of determination that secondary sales or users of the Library protocol using the Library token aren't violating securities transactions. Now maybe this is overly hopeful, but it's the only thing I can think of that would actually be a decent surprise. I'm not sure what else Library would really be looking for here. Either way though, definitely something to keep in mind. It looks like we might know about this by the end of December or early January. Most of these briefs are actually right around the corner. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this, and I'll let you guys know if we get any interesting things at the Library. So guys, now I want to move on and talk about the Ripple SEC case and the chances that this case could go all the way to the Supreme Court. Now guys, this would be a worst case scenario because that would mean this case could get dragged out for 3 to 4 more years. But I want to break down exactly what I think about this, and I don't want to just give you my opinion. I want to show you guys exactly what Ripple has to say about this because I think there's some really important points we need to consider here that actually makes this scenario highly unlikely. And I just want to talk about exactly what I think will actually play out here and why I don't think that will happen. First, I want to start off with this video put out by Digital Asset Investor because it really breaks down the two different sides, the two different camps, what people are saying about this case going to the Supreme Court, and it's going to give us a good jumping off point, so listen up to this.
On Twitter yesterday about what do you think is going to happen on Ripple. And I said, what I think is going to happen is everybody's going to overreact, whether it's a win or a loss, because what this judge has to say about it is really not going to be that important. Interesting. There are 2 more layers of appeals, what an appellate court says about this and eventually the Supreme Court. That's what will matter.
Hey, I want to go back and just say I used the term settlement earlier when I talked about Ripple, when I talked about Brad Bellinghouse and Stuart Alderati. And look, it could be a settlement. It could be, the end of the case, and the judge may settle the case. What I really mean to say is a conclusion. So I don't want anybody to read into it. Nobody told me there's a settlement. The conclusion of the case. But one of the things that Stuart said to me was he thinks when it's over, it's over. So I thought that was really cool.
On Twitter, yes.
So guys, that is a very important thing we just heard right there. This guy, Nick, right here, the one who was just talking at the end, the one who talked directly to Stuart Alderati, told us that when this case ends, Stuart Alderati told him it is likely the end of the case. So guys, this is in complete contrast to what this guy in the beginning was saying. I doubt this guy actually knows what he's talking about. There's a lot of very famous people in the cryptocurrency industry who like to talk about this case like they know exactly what's going on. Guys, these people don't have the slightest idea, and they probably haven't actually read a single brief in this case. The first very important point I want to make here is John Deaton has said multiple times that even if this case was to get dragged out, he highly doubts that XRP holders will still be in it. John Deaton has made it very clear that he thinks it is highly probable that even if this case does go to trial, and even if it does get appealed later down the road, he thinks it is highly probable that Judge Torres is going to make a determination for XRP holders on the status of XRP. That would mean regardless of whether or not Ripple did have certain sales in the past that could have potentially violated securities transactions, that won't matter because the asset itself, XRP, will already have been declared not a security, and therefore different exchanges in the US could relist it. Now guys, something else that I think is very important to point out here is we don't even know who's going to be at the SEC in 2 to 3 years. We don't even know who's going to be at the SEC in 6 months. For all we know, Gary Gensler could be gone, and we could have a cryptocurrency commissioner, maybe Hester Peirce, who is a lot more positive on cryptocurrencies. If that was the case, then the SEC might just give up on this case altogether, regardless of what stage it's at. And I just don't think that's factored in with this analysis. This guy's acting like Gary Gensler is going to be at the helm of the SEC for the next 45 years, and guys, I just think that's completely unrealistic. Gary Gensler is about to start being dragged in front of Congress a lot because, guys, people in Congress are not happy with his regulation of the cryptocurrency market. I would not be surprised in the slightest if Gary Gensler stepped down before his term was even up, and guys, that would mean someone else would be at the helm of the SEC. So who knows what could happen to this case if that changes? That's the nature of politics. You never know what's going to happen. The entire agency could flip on a dime from being very negative on cryptocurrency to being pro-crypto. And maybe that's a pipe dream, but guys, it's certainly realistic. And I think it's a lot more realistic that Gary Gensler is not at the SEC in 3 to 4 years than he's still there. I just think that's super important to take into account because I think a lot of people making the assumption that this case could go to the Supreme Court are also making the assumption that Gary Gensler is still at the SEC, and I just don't think that's right at all. Now guys, the last reason I don't think this case is going to get appealed to the Supreme Court, and I think this might be one of the most important things, actually comes from the fact that the United States would be completely screwing themselves when it comes to financial innovation. Take a look at this. This is from Spectre Index. Breaking. Financial Times reports UK government has finalized plans for regulation for the cryptocurrency sector, and I tweeted out in response to this, this means the US can't be too far behind. Guys, something you'll notice in the world is that whenever the UK does something or whenever the US does something, they tend to do things in lockstep, especially when it comes to regulation. We have already heard multiple times from both Biden and Yellen that the cryptocurrency market needs to be global because it's a global asset class. That means regulations all over the world need to be consistent. Guys, we do not have a scenario here where the UK is drafting cryptocurrency guidelines and the US is in the dark. They have no idea what's happening. That's completely unrealistic. Both of these governments work together on everything. The US knows exactly what's in this UK bill, and they're likely writing their own bills together. They're likely working together to try to create a consistent framework across jurisdictions. Guys, at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense for the US to have drastically different regulations than the UK because I could just download a VPN and suddenly I'm in the UK. So the US doesn't benefit from making crazy rules that don't apply globally. Now, the thing I think is super important to understand here is the US isn't going to drag out the Ripple SEC case forever and harm financial innovation. If the UK is ready with cryptocurrency guidelines, that means the US can't be far away. And guys, dragging the Ripple SEC case out 2 more years, 3 more years, 4 more years isn't going to help anything. We have already seen that the SEC has refused to make any statements on cryptocurrencies because of the Ripple SEC case. This industry is not going to go anywhere until this case is over, and this case will likely be a defining moment in United States crypto history. Because of that, and because of what we're seeing in governments all around the world, guys, I don't think it's realistic that the US is going to shoot themselves in the foot. Even if the SEC is some evil agency that wants to do everything it can to stop XRP, guys, the SEC still reports to Congress, and Congress can put a stop to the SEC whenever they feel like it. Either way, I think this is super important to understand. Guys, if the UK was doing similar things, just suing random companies, and if they weren't drafting legislations, I don't think this would be as important to look at. But guys, we have already seen multiple times high up US government officials tell us that cryptocurrencies are not going to go away and we need global frameworks that work for everyone. So in my opinion, the fact that the UK is moving forward and the UK is so close to the US is a great sign that the Ripple SEC case will not be going on forever, and we're actually a lot closer to it ending than we are to some new appeal starting. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really does mean so much. And for now, Mickle out.